could, ask you to silence your devices out there if you have cell phones and such. That was really helpful for us. And as we normally do, and especially at board meetings, we stand and have a moment of silence, and we follow by the Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight, I'd also like to, as part of our moment of silence, if you could put the Setliff family in your prayers. Tommy Setliff, who's been a member of the community for a long, long time, was a member of the fire department, back a life member, I believe he was the chief at one time. Volunteered his time for a lot of different things, including schools and announcing at schools, games, and volleyball and such. And just was a huge help to this community. So we could just stand and remember him for a little bit. About 20 seconds typically, then followed by the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. As you can see, everyone's here tonight. Is there any additions to the agenda? Are you making a motion?
Yes.
What's the motion?
I'm sorry, we can't hear you at all.
I request a change to tonight's agenda, namely item 10 on the agenda regarding resolution 4819. This afternoon, only after by issuance of tonight's meeting agenda by way of email, I became aware of item 10 being included on this meeting's agenda, whereas the council, or at least certain members of the council, seek to censure and fine me. I was given no prior notice or indication of this proposed action. Based on being given no prior notice or indication of this proposed action against me, I have not been afforded any opportunity to address or respond to the claims being made against me. Minimal due process dictates that I be afforded the opportunity to ascertain the nature of the claims against me and fair opportunity to respond and defend myself. I hereby request that the item be removed from tonight's agenda or tabled until such time as I've had the opportunity to address and respond to this proposed action.
Second? Motion fails. Any other additions to the agenda? Motion to approve the agenda? Second?
Second.
Mr. Hunt?
Aye.
Mr. Hunt?
Aye.
Mr. Lehman?
Aye.
Mr. Serby?
Aye.
Mr. Probst?
Aye.
Ms. Schiff?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion to approve the minutes? No minutes? Okay. Thank you. Council member announcements? Mr. Allen? Mr. Allen?
Nothing at this time.
Mr. Raymond?
Mr. Mayor, first off, I want to apologize to the whole council for not being here for the last couple of days. We've had some issues going on personally with family matters and illness, and also some things at work that I couldn't get away from to come down and attend the meetings. But I also want to, before, I guess it's been a few meetings ago now, Mr. Walter Kern pointed out a good thing that's going on in the community. And these signs are popping up here and there and everywhere. I actually have one in my yard, and I'm sure that may have been one of many places that he saw it. But a couple of friends of mine got together and started putting these signs out around the community, and it's just a reminder that you know, kindness in our community builds community, and I wanted to make sure that Walter got one for where he lives. I guess he has an apartment, and So I would like to present that to Walter at this time, if I could, Mr. Mayor.
You can. Walter, can you come up here?
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Walter. Mr. Serber? Ms. Robertson?
Just one thing, the school board and, Mr. Turner are at their annual, school conference, and, Mr. Turner just wanted to, bring up that he knows budget time is coming very quickly, and he's looking forward to working with you. Thank you. I guess that teacher voice just had too much going on today. The school board is out of town at their annual Virginia School Board Association conference in Williamsburg, and Mr. Turner wanted me to express to council that budget time is coming very quickly, and he's looking forward to working with everyone who's involved. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Schiff?
No.
Real quick, I'd just like to say thank you to everyone who attended the Veterans Day Memorial over at the Cannon. Fairly decent turnout, and it's a reminder of how important our veterans are to us, and for this town especially. And our freedoms obviously come at a cost. And, again, it's always, I'd like to thank Tommy Edwards, who's out there, who is always there for every aspect of that. So thanks again, Tommy, for all that putting it together. Next on the agenda is presentations. We'll start with Maggie Lane. Maggie Lane's going to present the 2019 grants overview.
All right, so good evening, council. Again, my name is Maggie Lane, and tonight I'm just going to be giving you guys a brief overview of all the grants that the town has been working on in 2019. So the very first grant that I started working on was the Virginia's for Lovers 50 Years of Love grant, and the town was awarded $10,000 back in mid-February from the Virginia Tourism Corporation, and with this money we were able to incorporate 50 Years of Love merchandise and promotions into businesses around town. And then we also used a third of that money to produce a marketing video for Colonial Beach, and that video has had 1,390 views on the town's YouTube channel and has 71 likes and 90 shares on the Visit CBVA Facebook page. And then I was also able to attend two Virginia Tourism Corporation pop-up events that was specifically for partners of 50 Years of Love. And those were at the Fredericksburg Welcome Center and Richmond. So the next one that I worked on was the World War I and World War II Anniversary Commission Tourism Marketing Program, and we received $6,500 from, again, the Virginia Tourism Corporation, and we matched that with the same amount. And this money was used to promote the Northern Neck World War I and World War II Commemoration Day and the 1940s dinner dance. And we had advertising in Virginia Living, Virginia Pilot, Richmond Times-Dispatch, and B101.5. And then we were also honored to have a number of VIP guests. That includes two World War II veterans, Senator Stewart, Congressman Whitman, Senator McDougal, and the Silent Drill Platoon from Marine Corps Barracks, DC. So the police department also received two grants that I helped with. The first was from Walmart, and it was actually directly from the Walmart in Dahlgren. And that was the Walmart Community Grant. It was $500 for the department, and that was used to purchase TVs for training and training. And then the second was the School Resource Officer Program, and this is the second year that we've received that. We got $37,932 from that grant, and then we matched that with $21,336, and we shared that match with the school. So this next grant is the most recent one that the town has received, and that's from the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation. And we received $197,804, and that's going to be used to construct a living shoreline at the Robin Grove Park. And the town partnered with Virginia Marine Institute of Marine Sciences, and they're going to help cover a portion of the match. So the total match is almost $66,000, and the town is paying $54,453, and then VIMS, Virginia Marine Institute of Marine Science, is donating $20,497, and then we're just currently waiting on the grantor to send us the contract so we can start work. So back in 2015, the town was awarded $542,000 from VDOT for transportation alternative programs, and the town's matching portion was $110,000, which brings the total project cost to $652,000. And money from that was being used for general improvements to the north end of the boardwalk, as most of you have probably seen. And construction finally began in September and is scheduled to be completed within weeks. So in late September, I applied for the Chesapeake Bay Restoration Fund, and this grant is funded by the sale of special Chesapeake Bay license plates, and that's an example on that slide. And I requested $45,000, and that will cover the town's match for the small watershed grant. And this is going to be awarded sometime in May or June of 2020. And then the last grant that I'm going to talk about is one that Susan French and I are working on right now. It's, again, from Virginia Tourism Corporation. It's a marketing leverage program, and we're requesting $10,000 that the town would match. This grant would help to produce an episode of Amazon's show AWOL, which is Air, Water, or Land, and it features 8 to 10 local Colonial Beach businesses, and the show is guided by adventure traveler Angel Burde, and it explores outdoor communities in the southeast USA. And over the past couple of months, Susan French has been in contact with the show's producers and has negotiated the production cost down to $22,000. So the grant would cover $10,000, and then the remaining $12,000 would be split between whichever businesses were involved. So, for example, if we got 10 businesses, each would pay $1,000 to be included in the video. And then we would do additional funding for the additional $2,000, which is still being determined. So once you add all that up, the total is, that's actually not correct. We get $849,736, and if you only count the money that was brought in, so total minus the town match, it's $717,836, and then the total without the plaza money, so only grant money that was received in 2019, was $152,336.
Maggie, the money for the grant for the police officer at the high school, that gives us a full-time officer at the high school, right?
Yes.
That grant? And that's a school resource officer?
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. Really good. Thank you so much. I tell you, obviously, grants are extremely important to this town, likewise volunteerism. But, you know, it's so helpful, and I personally appreciate everything you've done with this, and you've done an extremely good job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, we have Chief Hawk. Chief Hawk is going to talk to us about Community Watch.
Yes.
Good evening, Council. I'd like to take a few minutes tonight to brief you on the Neighborhood Watch program that we would like to reinstitute here in the town of Colonial Beach. It's my understanding from talking actually with former Chief Hawkins and actually Walter Kearns tonight and some other people within the town over the past couple of weeks. The Neighborhood Watch was in effect here maybe 15 years ago, if everybody's information is correct. And we would just kind of like to breathe some life into this and see how much participation we can get in the town. And we all think it's a good benefit for the town. I have a short PowerPoint presentation tonight for you all that outlines kind of the highlights of the program. And at the conclusion, I'll answer any questions that you all have or any comments. The first slide that we have is basically just kind of a history of the Neighborhood Watch program. National Neighborhood Watch began in 1972 with funding by the National Sheriff's Association and the U.S. Department of Justice. Neighborhood Watch is one of the oldest and the best known crime prevention concepts that's been available in North America. And Neighborhood Watch unites law enforcement agencies, private organizations, and private citizens in an effort to reduce crime and improve the communities in the area. What basically is Neighborhood Watch? Neighborhood Watch consists of a group of people living in the same area who share a desire to work in conjunction with local law enforcement to make their neighborhoods safer by reducing crime and improving the quality of life. Neighborhood Watch members have regular meetings and have specific goals in mind. Neighborhood Watch is homeland security at its most basic local level. And Neighborhood Watch teaches citizens how to help themselves and their community by identifying and reporting suspicious activity in their neighborhoods. Neighborhood Watch members do not take action themselves when they observe suspicious activity in their neighborhoods. Neighborhood Watch members only serve as the eyes and ears of the community and report suspicious activity to local law enforcement agencies. Neighborhood Watch provides an opportunity for citizens to volunteer and empowers them to become active in fighting crime. Some basics of how to start a Neighborhood Watch group. The first one, to recruit and organize as many community residents as possible. Second, partner with your local law enforcement agency and schedule meetings. Third, discuss community concerns and develop some type of action plan. Fourth, select a motivated and organized leadership group. Establish a communications plan. This can involve meetings, social media, newsletters, emails, or any other type of communication that's deemed fit. And lastly, take action, develop meaningful projects, organize meetings and events. And the National Neighborhood Watch actually has toolkits available for groups that help with training and ideas for meetings and projects and that type of thing. It's very informative and it's available, and we're we'll be over on some of that stuff. And the last slide, what are the benefits of starting a neighborhood watch program? First, it establishes partnerships with law enforcement and members of the community. Second, it assists in reducing crime. Third, provides a more safe, secure, and better prepared hometown. Fourth, creates a more unified community, a more united community. And lastly, it improves communication between the community members and local law enforcement agencies. And if there's anybody here or who's watching on cable or however the media goes out, if anybody has any questions, would like to sign up for the program, we're going to be doing some outreach at the PD. I've already talked to some people locally. Spoke with Walter Kearns tonight. He gave me a few ideas, and I think he's going to be kind of putting the word out from here tonight. But if anybody wants to contact me directly at the PD, just contact or if the administrative assistant, just ask her to leave me a message, or anybody can contact me via email, and we'll respond to them, and we'll try to get this thing off the ground in the very near future. So if anybody has any questions, feel free.
Thanks, Chief. That's a great idea.
This one.
Hopefully, maybe somebody that has some past experience in some form of leadership in one of these neighborhood watches. I know jurisdictions move down here may have some ideas as well. So.
Yeah, it's my understanding that, I'm sure everybody in the room knows Don Briley. Don, it's my understanding that Don, I think he participated in maybe the leadership of the prior neighborhood watch program. And I was actually speaking with Walter Kearns tonight before the meeting kicked off, and he's going to reach out to Don, and I told him just to contact me at the PD or give me his number, and we'll kick this thing off and try to get it rolling.
Let's see something, say something.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Douglas.
Thank you, Mayor.
Update on the signs.
Good evening, Council. As a recap, I was asked to address the boardwalk and beach regulatory signage. The goal is to improve appearance, reduce the amount of signage, and balance aesthetics and assurance that the public is aware of our most relevant requirements and restrictions. At the work session a couple weeks back, I presented proposed text and layout for each of those types of signs. You have, didn't give you the full presentation, but the proposed text for those signs, and got some valuable feedback from you at that meeting. I went back and discussed the concerns and questions with Chief Huff, and we discussed pretty extensively each of the recommendations. So tonight I'm bringing back that feedback and then to ask for additional input from council so that we can move forward. The first issue was the question of whether or not signage should be also in Spanish, and what we feel like that could be useful at times. It doesn't warrant putting that additional amount of signage up. And again, it's a balance of limiting the amount of signage, keeping the aesthetics, and providing only the most relevant information. So we do not recommend that Spanish signs be added on the beach and boardwalk at this time. In regards to tents, and I went back and clarified the ordinance on that, and as I mentioned, something you may want to consider if that is a concern, but in discussions with the chief, tents have been somewhat of an issue during the daytime. Overnight camping, not so much. So we recommend the tents be there. The ordinance reads that there's only a prohibition on tents with enclosed sides. And it specifically says that canopies are allowed. So for what as we discussed at the last meeting, a canopy is definitely something that I think it's pretty widely allowed at most beaches. It provides shade, but it also allows for folks to be able to see through
and see the water and so forth. And whereas when it's closed, it blocks the view and also can encourage some activities that may not be desired on the beach. So with that, I would recommend that we keep the tent language on the sign. There was a discussion on particularly the fishing and bicycles, whether or not that should be prohibited hours or the allowable hours. What I would recommend there is we highlight that narrow window of usage. If you put many hours to prohibited, it's going to be most of the time. There's only about a 3-hour window for bicycles and a little bit more than that for fishing. So it would be very confusing to put the prohibited hours for that. And then in terms of the prohibition on the dogs, that is an issue in season, not so much out of season. And you really want to get the message across for folks that come in season. So I would recommend we highlight that prohibition, not when they are allowed on the beach. So anyway, that's a quick summary of the issues that were identified. Welcome your feedback and things you want to add, you want to take away. Again, we're trying to strike that balance, and I can't emphasize the word balance. We're not treating these strictly as regulatory signs. We're trying to provide as limited signage in strategic locations that gets them the relevant information to the folks that come across the boardwalk on the beach. So with that, as far as next step goes, based on guidance from you, if you approve going ahead with the text or with any changes, what I plan to do is get with our sign vendor in Richmond to get, and I've incorporated the notes in terms of font for the wayfaring sign and so forth. Work with them on a sample sign and then bring that back to you. So you can see a sample parking sign and a sample regulatory sign. So you can give your review and hopefully endorsement of those before we get several made $10 on that. But we'd like to get these up in time for the spring season.
Thank you, Richard. We'll get back to this. Okay, let's see, you said schools are not here.
They are not.
Larry?
Good evening, hope everybody's well. We had our meeting last Wednesday, but before that, Monday, Tuesday, I was over at the Association of Counties meeting and ran into Jim over there. We had a great time. A lot of work sessions and stuff that were very good. The two that really came out were the conflict of interest, which all of you have to take. You can either do it online, but we had the pleasure of the head guy right there doing it for us. And some of the interesting things that is considered a conflict of interest. So make sure you take those classes you have to. Let's see, what else? Of course, it's working on budget time again. We've notified all the departments of how much money they think they need for the next year. And of course, all departments want more money. And it's up to the board to figure out who gets some more and who doesn't. So that's it. I do have some good news. The fire departments, all 4 of them in the county, will receive more money from the county. The new figures, they'll get $124,540 from the county to help operate. One of the goals that we're trying to do is set aside a couple $100,000 for the 4 of them, which means that each one will have a $50,000 pot to get money for capital improvements. Between masks and air tanks and suits and equipment for a truck, it's very, very expensive and stuff. So that's what the goal is, that every year they'll have a pot of money to help draw some of that out. So that's the goal that we have. The board also received a small little grant for the Columbia Beach Volunteer Fire Department of $50,000 to help. I think they're going to try to buy another truck. The unfortunate thing is, if you know what a truck costs, hundreds of thousands of dollars, 50,000 isn't a lot, but at least it's a little bit that'll help. They didn't get the 80% match that they were hoping for, but this is something that the county's gonna continue to keep trying to see what more they can get. Also, we put out a request for the general real estate reassessment. That's that time again, every 5 years we have to have that done. We'll put it out to bid now, next year they'll do it. Then all the paperwork you get, saying what they say your house is worth and this, and then you can come down and argue it, and then, so it's about a 2-year process before it goes into effect. So that's getting ready to be done. The other thing that fascinated me was a lot of us know about the old road from behind Food Line and all that, and how trashy it is. We asked if the highway department could help us clean that up, and they went out with the prisoners and took away 19 tons of trash off of that road. The only problem you have is you take 19 tons of trash off of there, and if you go out, that was done a couple of weeks ago, if you go out there right now, guess what you'll see? Trash all over the place. One year, we bought the little cameras, the hunting cameras, and stuck them up in the trees so we could catch people dumping them. They stole the cameras. Stole them, so that was the end of that. So we're gonna try something else, maybe we can catch some of that that's going on. Yes, sir?
In my office is on there.
Yes, sir.
The one thing that made a huge difference is when the sheriff's department, that's a major drug trade area, that back area.
I believe it.
And the sheriff's department put a major emphasis on, watching that road and so forth for the drug traffic and all that. That made a huge difference. I think it tailed off just in the last couple of years. But it had improved tremendously after some of the roadways, and that's all falling off. That made a big
I'll pass that on. See, you can pick that, just drive up and down a little more often without trying to do it. All right, that's about it. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
Is there any update for the tax auctions? I know that you switched companies, you're not using HUT anymore at the county, but then I haven't seen a tax auction in over a year.
Right, we don't know who the new person is, but they're working on that.
Okay,
They
last
were-
time I went to record keeping, they hadn't been contacted by whoever the new hire was,
Yeah.
and it's been over a year, so I just wanted to follow up that the county's going to pursue, getting the tax money for those parcels that I hope the town may wanna
They
do
piggyback
that in
on it, yes.
conjunction.
We,
Oh, you have an update on it?
I just had a notice when they did hire a company, they started the process and they sent us verification, but I don't know how far back they're going, but this particular company was about 10 years. And they asked for our certification of the KOS. And I just sent that out to them.
Of just one property? That's not a tax auction then. I mean, these auctions,
well, they're working on it, and
Yeah,
they've got the whole
plenty of
county to do, so it's not just the towns.
Yeah.
But anytime the county has something from the town, they always contact the town to see if
Right.
there's money owed there and piggyback with them to try to get it. The unfortunate thing is that I was shocked that there are properties way down at the lower end that, just the fees and stuff to do all that, the land's not worth it and no one bids on it. Just sits there. And now granted, it's not the best piece of property going, but they can't even get rid of it.
I
Can't
just
even
wanted
put it
the
in
town
the-
to be able to pursue also
Yes.
along with that, and if they are in contact with you now, then that's good, but it should be more than one property,
And I'm assuming that
individually. So, okay.
There's a
I
big
hope
process,
not.
there's a process, so they're doing it little by little.
Yeah,
And
normally
all
at
over.
record keeping, they do a lot of, information seeking, they put it all in one document and then send a list of properties, so that's why yeah, but this is also a new company, this is
Right.
the way they used to do it, so maybe.
I can tell you.
I know it's more corporate than just, we had a local attorney do it.
The local Montrose attorney handles it for us.
Well, if you can follow up on any progress.
All right,
on that.
I will let you know.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else?
No, thank you.
And the last thing is this, red eye is not from Vic having enough of me and slapping me. I had cataract surgery yesterday, so that's why it's all red and everything, right?
Hopefully you'll hear, heal quick.
Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
All right, thank you. Planning commission? Maureen?
As you all know, since 2017, we've been revising the comp plan. It's a mammoth task. And I'm sure you understand, Robin. But one of the things on the action plan, which will now have to change, is the beginning of the neighborhood watch. So we congratulate you on that. You have heard the citizens, and we are very happy to hear that. So we will adjust that. As you know, the Planning Commission's goals and objectives for the action plan we've been working on them for a year, and we should have them ready by the end of December 1st. We also have many of the chapters are in the office of the planning and development and being reviewed. We have some people who are still editing that have not sent them back yet, but we will get to that. Major events, we have been discussing the ordinances and trying to keep them going because we need to have some real implementation of some of these ordinances. And we figure that the only way to do that is to draw attention to them. So we have dug up the sign ordinance and have found 4 different copies. We are now on the latest copy as of today, 2019, and we will be reviewing that tomorrow evening at our meeting, and hopefully we'll be submitting that after our public hearing. The other ordinance we are working on is the landscape ordinance, which also had to be re-dug up, and we are now working on the last section of that, and we will hopefully have another public hearing so that we can submit it to you. Our capital improvement plan will be discussed tomorrow evening at the Planning Commission meeting, and it will be for 2020. And we will, in our comp plan, have a capital improvement plan through till 2030. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Maureen. Thank you, and say thanks to the planning commission.
Definitely.
Is it too early for us to go to the planning office and look at the chapters, Maureen, or should we be waiting still?
I think we should be waiting, but as soon as they're ready, I would get them to. Okay, they've got to be tweaked.
Okay.
Thank you. Downtown Palm Beach? Joyce?
Thank you for this opportunity to report. I'm going to be very careful about speaking into the microphone, so I hope everybody can hear me, because several of us forgot our hearing aids tonight. So if you can't hear me, please come up and tap me on the shoulder. So our primary initiative right now is fundraising for the match required to submit a cost-sharing grant for the survey and completion of the nomination packet needed to apply for National Historic Designation. And here's what we've accomplished so far. I'm pleased to announce that we have received our first very generous donation of $500 from a private individual, followed by another $250 donation, bringing the amount we now need to raise to under $6,000. With this inspiration, we are officially opening up the campaign tonight with letters going out within a few days to the business community to raise $100 each from 60 local business owners or other donors. People are welcome to contribute more than that. And I can't definitively say this right now, but if more than is raised than is needed for the cost-sharing grant for this phase one of the historic district, it might be possible to reserve anything extra for a second phase if the community wants to go in that direction. Also, several of the major town organizations have been contacted for donations, and individuals and groups of residents have spontaneously mobilized to raise funds for this project. There's a holiday light decorating contest that has been inaugurated with application proceeds to be donated to DCB for the historic district. And we love that because it also contributes to our objectives of bringing in visitors every season of the year and will complement the Chamber's Winter Festival. Where I will be appearing as Frosty for my second year in a row. Another group is planning a wine tasting party for January to raise funds and promote the historic district. They hope to get people in the right frame of mind to donate at that event. So again, the people are rallying in support of this. It's very exciting. Our next major initiative is to create a visual representation of what the community has said it would like its downtown to look like, based on the comprehensive plans, revitalization grant, and lots of community input. A committee has been formed to shape this objective into a proposal to Virginia Main Street for a $7,000 affiliates grant, and Jim Bell, our last year's president, is taking the lead on this project. It would certainly be advisable to coordinate these efforts with the real estate firm that you have retained to market and sell town properties. We would also like to work with them in marketing the sale of the town's historic buildings to the extensive listing of historic restoration contractors and developers that we've received from the Department of Historic Resources. Also motivated by one of the Main Street program's core principles of achieving shared prosperity, we strongly concur with Mayor Blunt's desire to see that the local building and construction trades industry obtain as much work as possible from whatever development occurs downtown and throughout the commercial core. We also appreciate Councilmember Serby's several pragmatic ideas about how to facilitate this. And we would like to collaborate with the town government, anyone who has ideas to be really intentional about this and come up with concrete ideas on ways to make that happen. Economic Development Director Richard Douglas has indicated his willingness to act as a liaison to help us accomplish these various objectives. Been very helpful so far and supportive, attended our board meeting, and we generally have found him a good person to work with in this revitalization of the downtown, and we appreciate it. It's nice to have access. We've also created a prospectus for our 2020 Osprey Festival, which looks like we will likely need to hold on April 18th rather than April 25th, unless we encounter further conflicts, but right now, it's the 18th because the 25th is the date of the huge Delmarva Birding Festival we'd like to avoid competing with. And we heard of our new additional speaker, conservation-oriented Osprey Festival, who's agreed to come that day. We'll be completing the town's event application in the near future and plan to send out save-the-date notices soon in order to attract the naturalists and birding experts we need for an interesting program. This year, we'd also like to add in vendors to include birdwatching suppliers and artisans. We've added exciting new members to our board of directors, several of whom are working collaboratively to redesign our website, which desperately needed it. And there are additional things that have been cropping up, like helping to water the trees in Torrey Smith Park, working with the garden club and maintenance of the landscape beds around the welcome sign and pots at the community bulletin board. But we're keeping focused on accomplishing our major objectives this year of achieving historic district designation for our downtown, organizing a successful Osprey Festival, and creating a vision of what a well-designed, preservation-based development would look like that will preserve and put our remaining historic structures back into productive use to attract potential investors and developers. I'll be glad to answer any questions. No? Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Chamber?
I think you're going to get sick of hearing from me because I'm going to wear several hats this evening. I hope you don't mind. Yes, as Susan Mack, who would normally be giving the report, is not available this evening. She's dealing with some family issues. And I don't have anything specific from her to read to you, but I'm on the board, so I can tell you, I've jotted down just a few brief notes of some of the things that we've done since the last meeting. For example, we worked with the foundation on the candidates forum for the Board of Supervisors position. We worked with the other NGOs in town and with the town government, with Plan and others on the special events permit, which I think that application, which was a big, huge struggle over the past several years, I think we finally have it under control and are going to be doing it in a way that's satisfactory to the chamber as well as to the town and also to the vendors. So hopefully, as we go forward, we'll just be able to report nothing but good news about that. We had our last networking, the chamber had its last networking event recently, actually at the my rental property on Lincoln, and Mr. Douglas came to that, and it was very well attended. So that networking activity, which is a relatively new activity for the chamber, seems to be paying off big time. It seems like that's really something that a lot of the members are looking for. The chamber is holding its annual holiday dinner on the 11th at White House, and I know you all will probably receive an invitation if you haven't already for that, so be looking out for that. And the last thing that I thought I might talk about, but I don't think I will give too many details, is about the summary for Bike Fest. We did have a conversation about Bike Fest the last board meeting, and there is a lot to talk about, but I think I'm going to let Susan do that at the next meeting. So, but I'll make sure that she does give you sort of the wrap up of Bike Fest at the next meeting. So that concludes the Chamber's report. Is there any questions about the Chamber's activities? Okay. Yep. All right. So now putting my foundation cap on. The foundation has also been busy in a number of different ways. We worked with the Chamber on the same candidates forum that I mentioned a moment ago. We also have a bunch of new board members that I'm really excited about. I think we have some really good members now that are going to really do some really innovative initiatives for next year. So we've been talking about new events and new activities that are going to significantly take the foundation to like another level of community involvement. Most recently, what we have done is we have participated, or we have supported Cher Lee's activities to try to raise funds and collect toys for 100 children, or actually I think she now has 101 children that she is working with, which is up from 50 last year, which was up from like 20 the year before. So the need in our community is great, and Cher Lee is sort of stepping into the void, and the foundation is supporting her in a variety of ways. She's going to be holding her Christmas party with Santa Claus, which will be me, on December 14th, thank you, December 14th at the Community Center. So that should be a lot of fun. But I've told Edward I'm not going to grow my beard anymore. I'll just use a fake beard over top of this one. The foundation is really doing a bunch of wonderful things, and I'm really excited about the future of what the foundation is going to be up to. Now, I also am going to be reporting for Karen Grisevich for the Colonial Beach Recreation Association, if that's all right. And I'm going to, actually before I do that, I'm going to switch caps and put briefly on my hat of the Friends of Eleanor Park. And I just want to briefly tell you that the Friends of Eleanor Park, I think I may have mentioned this to you before, but the Friends of Eleanor Park is changing its name and its scope of interest. We are going to be calling ourselves CB Green Space, and we are going to be focused on green space activities throughout the community, and that includes supporting any effort that would involve putting a park on the north side of town. So we want to, the people that are involved in the Friends of Eleanor Park are extremely interested in that initiative, but throughout the community. So that is what we're going to be doing. And we also were sort of requested to do that by the foundation as a way to allow that effort to become part of the foundation's activities to support green space initiatives. And so the foundation and CB Green Space will be working in this collaboration council, which I think is what we're now calling it, something like that. Collaboration Council initiative, which is bringing some of the NGOs together with the town to develop green space and other kinds of park-related activities throughout the town. So that's a little bit from Friends of Eleanor Park, but also to ask the question, which I'm sure is in your heads, which is when are we going to know about the grant? And, you know, I believe that we're going to hear any day. And I'm actually not sure who's going to hear, whether it will be the person who wrote the grant, which was Pam Tolson, or whether it will be the town itself who will receive the formal results of that grant application. So I would appreciate it if you hear anything, if you let us know, and I'll tell you that the reverse, that if we hear anything, we will let you know. We'll let everybody know what the results of that grant request were. So anyway, that's Eleanor Park. Actually, I can answer any questions about any of that if you'd like, or I can just move on. Okay, my last hat is the Colonial Beach Recreation Association. I did receive something from Karen Grisevich to read to you guys, so if you are all right with that, I'm going to go ahead and read. So she says, at the end of September, CBRA secured 50 State Fair of Virginia tickets, allowing the Colonial Beach High School Exceptional Education class to visit the fair as a field trip. Remaining tickets were given out through Facebook to the community. In October, we, and I'm saying she, saying we participated in the fire department's first trunk or treat at the high school. We were also honored to be asked to serve as the Grand Marshals for the homecoming parade. We have printed the school's winter sports schedules, and they will be distributed next week. And on December 31st at Monroe Bay Marina, we are hosting the second CB Crab Pot Drop with support from the Colonial Beach Community Foundation, which actually I forgot to mention a moment ago. We will be asking for donations to purchase more beach access panels, so that will be a sort of a fundraiser for those panels. Yeah. Oh yeah. The foundation is also kind of supporting the radio station at the moment, and there was a survey done recently, and the results are really quite incredible about how the community is. The enthusiasm that the community has for the radio station. If you listen to it, you know what I'm talking about. It's really quite a great thing for the community to have. Is there anything else, Marcia? Okay. Anything else from anybody else I should mention? Anyway, I guess that's. Oh, she's trying to raise funds for through underwriting for the radio station. So if anybody's has a pocket of change they want to donate to the radio station, they can give it to Marcia.
Are they selling advertising?
Well, it's this, because of the nature of the station, that it's not a commercial station,
Right.
yeah, the answer is yes, but they're called underwriting.
Okay.
Yeah, and so Marcia is the underwriting director for the radio station.
And it looked like the turnout to the school for the trunk or treat was huge. It's huge. So it's a huge success for the first time out.
Yeah, I've heard that. I wasn't there, but I've heard that.
Very good. It's a good, safe way to do it. Thanks, Eric.
All right.
Yeah. That's a huge help. All right, so, tab C on our books is ordinance number 701, which will amend town code section 17-54 in articles 20, 8, and 7, zoning ordinance, or zoning ordinance. And we'll open the public hearing at this time. This is pertaining to the ordinance for the tattoo parlor, so we can allow tattoos to be performed. That's how you say it in the town. The planning commission spent a considerable amount of time, it looks like from what I've read, and a ton of due diligence in doing this for the council, and that's greatly appreciated. Let's see, I guess before we go into the public hearing, should I get Mr. Douglas, you want to speak on this first before taking it to public hearing?
Sure, Mayor. Just to highlight the ordinance, there's several components, but the first is to amend the town code, section 1754, which will abolish the prohibition on tattoo establishments. And then we provide for a definition, we amend the definition of personal service establishments to exclude tattoo establishments so that it should avoid some future confusion in certain districts. And then we also provide for a definition of tattoo establishments. And then we add as a permitted use tattoo establishments in the general commercial C1 and the resort commercial districts with the prohibition, with the distance prohibition in proximity to another tattoo establishment or primary entrance of a private or public school building, daycare facility, public park, or religious institution. The ordinance as presented and as presented for public hearing by the planning commission was 500 feet. As you had discussion at the last meeting, staff prepared maps that you have that shows some examples of what that would look like in reality. And while if this ordinance is approved, it would allow the permitted use anywhere in the C1 or RC districts. There are a couple of properties that the property owner had looked at. So I gave you an example from Rankin Shopping Center, and then another commercial property in Colonial to see what did you see the 100, 200, 300, 400, and 500 distances are from those properties. And then on resort commercial, we just simply did it from the center of the district to give you an idea of what that would look like as well.
Public hearing is open. Did anybody sign up to speak, you know? No? Okay. All right, does anybody desire to speak before I close it? Public hearing is closed. I believe there's a motion to amend this as read, is that correct?
I'll make the motion to amend the ordinance as written from 500 feet to 200 feet. And the main concern with that, as discussed in the work session, is probably the proximity to a religious institution, that we have quite a few of them in town, and just wanted to
not be too restrictive about that.
So there's a motion to amend ordinance number 701, section 1754, and articles 28 and 7 of the zoning ordinance to this amend it from 500 feet to 200 feet.
Aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Okay. Now is there a motion to approve the amended ordinance number 701?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Mr. Raymond?
Aye.
Mr. Silver?
Aye.
Aye.
Ms. Shea?
Aye.
And chair votes aye. Passes unanimously. Congratulations. Thank you. Tab D. Tab D is resolution number 48-19, personnel matter. At this time, I will like to have our legal counsel read
Yes, Mr. Mayor, your request. Council paper, at the meeting held on November 20th, 2019 at Colonial Beach Town Hall. Resolution number 48-19, censors town council members. Whereas on December 14, 2017, by way of resolution number 68-17, Stephen D. Serby was previously censored by his fellow members of the Colonial Beach Town Council for offensive, inappropriate, and unprofessional conduct. Whereas since that time, Mr. Serby has engaged, both in person and by email and or text, with employees of the town in an angry, belligerent, and threatening manner in violation of the 2019 bylaws and rules of procedure adopted by Town Council by way of Resolution 03-19 on January 16, 2019, specifically violating Section 6-1, actions by individual members of the council, Section 6-1-C, D, E, G, and H. And whereas Mr. Serby has also violated Section 3, Equal Employment Opportunity, TOCB Personnel Manual adopted by Town Council by Resolution 56-11 dated December 8, 2011, and amended by way of Resolution 27-14 dated March 27, 2014, by engaging with employees of the town in an angry, belligerent, and threatening manner. And whereas on November 2nd, 2019, Mr. Serby was removed as a liaison to Public Works by way of an email from the mayor to Mr. Serby and town council members. And whereas Section 6-4 of the 2019 bylaws and rules of procedure, as well as Virginia Code Section 15.2-1400, provides authority to town council to hold a member of town council accountable for their actions in violation of the bylaws and or state law. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the members of the Colonial Beach Town Council, publicly censor and repudiate the above noted words and actions of Stephen D. Serby. Now therefore be it further resolved, Now therefore be it further resolved that Stephen D. Serby, in addition to being censored, shall also be fined by the Colonial Beach Town Council in the amount of $1,500 in accordance with Virginia Code Section 15.2-1400. And there's a place for a motion second.
I'd like to make a motion.
Second. Discussion. Mr. Allen? Mr.
Okay, tonight, I've not been provided any specific information or evidence which formulate the basis of these charges against me. No details regarding personal contact, specific emails or texts from employees of the town which purport the angry, belligerent, threatening manner being set forth by the author of these charges. I have not received but in due specific details on the events pertaining to the 11 generic charges, which have no instances referenced, only very general unsupported statements. I hereby demand a public hearing in order to afford me the due process in order to ascertain the nature of the claims against me, a fair opportunity to respond and defend myself, and further to inform the public of the issues which seem to have led up to these unwarranted actions.
Mr. Mayor, I call for the vote.
Mr. Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Mr. Ide?
Aye.
Mr. Raymond?
Aye.
Ms. Rhodes? Ms. Shea? Chair votes aye. Okay, citizen input. Mr. Kern?
This is going to be a history lesson 101.
All right.
I'm going to have to go back to probably back into the maybe back into the 1940s. Colonial Beach has always had a school system. Old Grove High School, when it was built, somehow Colonial Beach was sending the high school students at the beach to Old Grove. We also had on the Westmoreland School Board representation on the Westmoreland County School Board. One member. When Old Grove High School closed down in 1959, Colonial Beach decided that they were going to come back to Colonial Beach and build an elementary school. What they did at that time, they built an elementary school, and what they did at the old high school, they did a split shift. The elementary school went from 8 o'clock in the morning to 1 o'clock. The high school went from 1 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the evening. And that went on until the elementary school was completed. During that time frame, there were 3 big construction projects in town. The Colonial Beach Fire Department, the Colonial Beach Baptist Church, and the elementary school. R.R. Beasley set up out of Kinsale on Colonial Avenue in Douglas Street to set up a concrete portable plant to handle those 3 big projects. And the Baptist Church was completed in 1961. The contractor at the firehouse was out of Tappahannock. His name was Hamlin, out of Tappahannock. All they did was build the shell, and the rest of it was completed by the volunteers in the fire department. The
building at the elementary school was built by Ralph Hall. And during that time frame, we had a very good school board system. His name was Eldred Cox. We only had 3 members on our school board. And one of the leaders at the fire department always said, be careful what you ask for. And the other thing, do I think we are getting a good deal from the county? Absolutely not. Thank you.
Thank you, Walter. Any need for a closed meeting?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second? All right. All in favor?
Aye.